Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. I'm sitting on my couch, hence why I'm crooked, holding up on some cushions. Sloan and James are napping. Knock on wood, cross your fingers, they don't interrupt this video. But I got Because of Winn Dixie in the mail last night, and I wanted to finish it for you guys. If I would have known we would have been out of school for the amount of time that we are right now, I definitely would have brought that home, as well as Grump and Rump, so I could have still read them to you. So I'm going to pick a few read-alouds to read to you guys, except you're probably going to laugh because I have a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, so I don't really have chapter books at home. I have picture books at home. So I can read some of those just so you can enjoy it and we can all laugh together, and I'll also order some books for you guys so that we can do a true read-aloud. Because as I look around, they're all Eric Carle books or, little rhyming books meant for little preschoolers. So, oh well. We finished reading almost 2 weeks ago, which I can't believe it's been that long since I've seen you guys. And what I would normally do right now is ask you if someone could tell me what happened next. So I'll do that for you guys. If you recall, Opal and Gloria Dump decided to have a party in her backyard. And they invited the preacher, Sweetie Pie Thomas, the Dewberry Boys, even though Opal didn't want to. They invited Miss Franny Block and Pinch-Faced Amanda Wilkinson and Otis. And he came with his big jar of pickles. And then it started to rain, so they all ran inside. They took the pickles and the pictures of the dogs that Sweetie Pie brought to decorate for her dog theme. And all of those things except Opal felt so bad because she forgot that Winn Dixie was afraid of thunderstorms. And they got inside and she couldn't find him. So the preacher and Opal decided to go find Winn Dixie. And I'll read the last part of this chapter just so you guys remember. But they were running, and Opal decided that she needed to make a list of 10 things to remind her of Winn Dixie in case she couldn't find him. She said number 1 was that he had a pathological fear of thunderstorms. Number 2 was that he liked to smile, using all his teeth. Number 3 was he could run fast. Number 4 was that he snored. Number 5 was that he could catch mice without squishing them to death. Number 6 was that he liked to meet people. Number 7 was he liked to eat peanut butter. Number 8 was that he couldn't stand to be left alone. And number 9 was that he liked to sit on couches and sleep in beds, which I'm sure is where many of your dogs are right now. And number 10 was he didn't mind going to church. I kept on going over and over the list in my head. I memorized it the same way I had memorized the list of 10 things about my mama. I memorized it so if I didn't find him, I would have some part of him to hold on to. But at the same time, I thought of something I'd never thought of before. And that was that a list of 10 things couldn't even begin to show somebody the real Winn Dixie. Just like a list of 10 things couldn't ever get me to know my mama. And thinking about that made me cry even more. Me and the preacher looked for a long time, and finally he said we had to quit. But Daddy, I said, Winn Dixie's out there somewhere. We can't leave him. Opal, said the preacher, we have looked, and there's only so much looking we can do. I can't believe you're going to give up, I told him. India Opal, the preacher said, rubbing his nose. Don't argue with me. I stood and stared at him. The rain had let up some. It was mostly a drizzle now. It's time to head back, the preacher said. No, I told him. You go ahead and go, but I'm going to keep looking. Opal, the preacher said in a soft voice. It's time to give up. You always give up, I shouted. You're always pulling your head inside your stupid old turtle shell. I bet you didn't even go out looking for my mama when she left. I bet you just let her run off too. Baby, the preacher said, I couldn't stop her. I tried. Don't you think I wanted her to stay too? Don't you think I miss her every day? He spread his arms out wide and then dropped them to his sides. I tried. And then he did something I couldn't believe. He started to cry. The preacher was crying. His shoulders were moving up and down, and he was making snuffly noises. And don't believe that losing Winn Dixie doesn't upset me as much as it does you, he said. I love that dog. I love him too. Daddy, I said, I went and wrapped my arms around his waist. He was crying so hard he was shaking. It's all right, I told him. It's okay. Shh. I said to him like he was a scared little kid. Everything will be okay. We stood there hugging and rocking back and forth, and a while after the preacher stopped shaking, I still held on to him, and I finally got the nerve to ask the question I wanted to ask. Do you think she's ever going to come back? I whispered. No, the preacher said. No, I do not. I've hoped and prayed and dreamed about it for years, but I don't think she'll ever come back. Gloria says you can only hold on to anything. Gloria says you can't hold on to anything, that you can only love what you've got while you've got it. She's right, the preacher said. Glory Dump is right. I'm not ready to let Winn Dixie go, I said. I'd forgotten about him for a minute with what thinking about my mama. We'll keep looking, said the preacher. The two of us. We'll keep looking for him. But do you know what? I just realized something, India Opal. When I told you your mama took everything with her, I forgot one thing. One very important thing she left behind. What? I asked. You, he said. Thank God your mama left me you. And he hugged me tighter. I'm glad I've got you too, I told him. And I meant it. I took hold of his hand and we started walking back into town, calling and whistling for Winn Dixie the whole way. All right, I'll stop this video and then I will start reading the next chapter and another one so you can find it easily.